Let me mention one thing though, because I think this is important, because as I said, I'm dealing with a client that is a finance company. The finance company is very concerned about obtaining, they operate, it's a back room enterprise, they don't have any actual contact with the customer, him or herself. It's an auto finance company. They recognize that there are certain instances where they will have to title a vehicle though, so they're going to have to demonstrate that the person is legally present in the United States. They have concerns about obtaining a copy of a person's driver's license prior to the extension of credit because they're worried if credit is then declined that they will have provided some form of evidence against themselves for an Equal Credit Opportunity Act claim. I bring this up because the temptation, unfortunately, that employers really have to fight is to try to avoid any issue with this by self-screening your employment candidates because I just don't want to hassle with this. So if a person's last name looks a certain way or speak with an accent or that sort of thing, that is, I can't warn you enough against doing that. You may be trying to avoid one headache, but in doing so, you're very likely to give yourself a much bigger headache. You need to go through the process, hire the person you believe is best qualified for the job, and then you verify them. And it may be that unfortunately you're going to get a yellow tentative non-confirmed. But the risk of an employment discrimination lawsuit by someone who is here legally, but you're just not sure and you're too worried and you don't want to get into that headache is far greater than going through this process. I promise you that. So, we've had to work through with this credit company, now a multi-step process where they send out one form and they get it back and they extend the credit. The first form has to say, make sure you understand you're going to have to give your driver's license later, and then they sign anyhow. But all of this was to avoid discrimination lawsuits on their part, so that nobody could say, you were just getting our driver's licenses so that you could see our pictures, and then making your credit determination based on the picture. Again, they're jumping through all sorts of hoops to avoid those, and I strongly urge you to make sure that you don't try to avoid this sort of e-verified immigration hassle and buy into some other much bigger problem with relation to a discrimination lawsuit. So I appreciate y'all being here.